Okay, example B. Find an equation in standard form for the ellipse that satisfies the given conditions. So they gave me that the major axis length is 6 on the y-axis and the minor axis length is 4. So I mentioned this in the last video. Your major axis is obviously the longer one. Your minor axis is the shorter one. If the major is on the y-axis, we know the y-axis goes up and down. So this thing is tall, okay? This is a tall ellipse. The major is on the y-axis and the length is 6. The whole thing is 6. Now remember I said from the center to your vertex was A. So from the center to the vertex is A, same thing in the other direction, that's also A, which means that the whole thing, the length of my major axis is 2 A's. Your major axis is always going to be 2 A's. All right, in a similar fashion, your minor axis is from the center this direction, so that's the B, which means that the minor axis will always be 2 B's. Okay? Your major is 2A, your minor is 2B. What's important here is that the major axis is on the y-axis. That lets me know that I start with a y squared. Okay? So it's a y squared plus x squared equals 1. And down at the bottom, I just need to fill in my a squared and then my b squared. So if 6 is 2 a's, I would just divide by 2. And a by itself would be 3. If a is 3, then a squared is a 3 squared, which is a 9. Right, so 9 is the denominator of your y squared. Same thing over here. The minor axis length was 4. 4 is 2 b's. That means that 1 b, of course, is just 2. And if b is 2, then b squared is 2 squared, or 4. This is my equation. Okay? Number 2, it gives me the foci and it gives me a major axis length. So I know that the foci are always the C's, whether it's on the blue side or the red side. I know the foci is always the C. It did not tell me if I was on the x-axis or the y-axis. It didn't tell me which one was the major. It just told me that the length was 10. So I'm going to look at my foci to give me a clue to tell me whether I'm on the blue side or the red side. If the foci came first, right, the C is my x-coordinate, that happens on the blue side. The C is your x-coordinate on the blue side. So my major axis is always 2A, but I know, since it came first, that I started with an x squared. Okay? And underneath is always supposed to be my a squared and then my b squared. Okay, well they gave me the major axis length was 10, so I know major goes with the a, that's 2 a's. That means that 1a is 5. And if a is 5, then a squared down here would be 25. All right, but what about the b? I'm going to use the Pythagorean relation to find the b, because they gave me the c, I figured out the a. So if I use the Pythagorean relation, the a squared equals b squared plus c squared. Okay, a squared was 25. B squared, I do not know. C squared would be a 2 squared, which would be a 4. So if I solve for b squared here, I would take away, I wrote it wrong. It should not be negative. Equals and plus. Okay. So if I solve for b squared, I want to take away 4 from both sides. Take away 4. And I end up with 21 equals b squared. I don't need to square root it because b squared is exactly what I needed. So the denominator of my y is 21. And this is my equation.